precious about ending the turn with it still in their hand.
I mean, that was the question I was starting to wonder, specifically with like the Rogue Mirror. I was a leave Penflinger on board gamer, because you just go wide at the start and they couldn't really answer, and I suspect that it will be very much the same situation against the Druid, where you're just trying to stop any kind of board presence right from the get-go. Alutemu's hand, I'm guessing just... wow, I was expecting just the Guess the Weight to be kept there. Am I too precious about Guess the Weight? I was talking to this about Lorinda, and I was like, I feel like you always keep Guess the Weight because it just keeps the cycle going. But I was told he didn't agree with that, and clearly Alutemu doesn't as well.
Yeah, this is already very enlightening to me because you can tell who I respect more as a token druid than Alutemu and Lorinda. I'm so sorry, Neil. That one was too easy. But yeah, we did have this exact discussion when we were prepping. I don't necessarily remember if it was exactly against Rogue, but Guess the Weight certainly feels like a card that it's not too matchup dependent on whether you keep it because it's card draw that doesn't conflict with Fungal Fortunes. But we're already seeing from Alutemu that he wants something better. And maybe that is also just a bit of a parallel to how they were playing Spell Druid back last year.
Interesting hand now for Alutemu. Not insane, but obviously not bad, given that he's found Gibbling and the Glowfly. But how does he get this out? Like, he could obviously just go Gibbling, Power of the Wild on this turn, maybe even throw in an Innovate, but it just makes the rest of his turns, I think, a bit too awkward.
Yeah, I really don't like that. I think the next turn is going to be Innervate with Glowfly Swarm. And even though you get 4 2/2s, if you do the Gibberling, Innervate, Power of the Wild turn, that's even less than 4 2/2s, I believe. It's one turn sooner, but the Gibberling with Spell Burst gets cleared pretty much immediately. So Alutemu gonna settle, most likely.
Over on the other side, though, GivePLZ, in true Orc fashion, just smacking big boys on the board each turn and hitting face. I've decided that's an Orc thing. It seems like it would be.
Yeah.
Never played WoW.
Me neither. But it does feel very much in theme, on brand, with the flavor of Forged in the Barrens. So as for Alutemu, the pickup of Nature Studies now kind of makes you reconsider the Gibberling line. There's outcomes there that let you fill the board even wider than the Glowfly Swarm now.
Yeah.
I don't know what the average Druid spell cost is, though.
So Gibberling, Innovate into Nature Studies Pride Sphere. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks strong, huh?
How many would you get? 1, 2, 3 actually get buffed that way. So and the fourth one comes out. It's not that much stuff you're actually putting on the board, to be honest. I think upon looking at it a little bit closer, you're just supposed to either go with the Glowfly or actually just wait for another turn here.
I can see the waiting, especially when there's this little time left on the turn.
Yeah.
But considering if that turn was going to be board development, 4 2/2s versus 3 3/5s and a 1/1, and then sometimes you get a nut spell off of Nature Studies and you can pivot to Power of the Wild instead, I would have preferred that. Alutemu is saying, I can wait a bit longer. Sure, and he can get even more stats. It's Arbor up basically this turn if he wants to do Gibberling instead of the Pride's Fury.
Obviously reaching for Glowfly first of all, but I like that he's hesitating here and at least considering the other options because, again, Gibberling, is something that you do have to consider on this turn because you can get the Pride's Fury in on the same time. If he'd gotten a 1-mana spell or a 0-mana spell, it looked a lot more tempting, but here, Glowfly, pray that something sticks, is your best chance, I believe.
Oh, but it feels so awful to do this while leaving a field contact on board. The one consolation is that GivePLZ has not hit the Octobot yet, so it's very expensive for him to deal with a bunch of these. But honestly, he will end up very ahead on board, given that there's Prize Plunder, double Brain Freeze, and even Penflinger. Double Prize Plunder! Oh my gosh, Alutemu was just out of the game.
It's looking really rough for him now. Like, there's not even swipe in the game to swing back the board off of the Nature Studies. There is very little that Druid can do to pull themselves out of this one.
He just plays the Penflingers.
Yeah.
Both of them. You can even step 1 Prize Plunder if you like, but you probably stop there. I think he might overdraw with the Penflingers going back in hand, or gets close to it at least. And honestly, I'd rather have the Flingers on board. He can value trade with the Mancrick and just present what looks like a counter lethal already. One Wicked Stab in hand.
Yeah, the one thing there was that you do have a full board and you could have drawn Mancrick's wife, but honestly, you're winning so much here, it really doesn't matter that you wouldn't be able to get that.
And so, what miracles off nature studies does Alutemu need right now? Like, is it Starfall? Are we in that territory? Is that in Standard?
I don't think that's in the game anymore.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's not that.
It's not that.
But it's Taunt. And so, guess the weight plus that mark plus Pride's Fury. You do get one feat. Oh, sorry, that wouldn't have fit with the mana.
Doesn't even give Taunt, right? It just gives you a copy to your hand if it has Taunt. Yeah.
Oh, is that how that? Wow, that card is bad.
Yeah, it's not the best.
I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that one for myself because I have simply never played the card.
Yeah, it goes as wide as you humanly can on this turn.
Is he just dead? There is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on board, and then Wicked Stab, and then 2 Penflingers and Dagger?
Penflingers can't go face.
Right! They got nerfed.
Why isn't everyone playing these cards? They're great!
Yoink can give him Hunter.
Yeah.
And Secret
Going
Passage can give him also the other stab. Priest.
Okay, as long as he's not too all in on this game plan that he misses the ability to clear off the board, because if you can't kill him, you clear.
Correct. And so clearing is
That dies.
stepping prize.
Oh no, wait, he burns the card. Sorry, that's the order it happens in. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I'm being dumb there. And then he clears a minion. That's fine. Penflingers you can use to make this a bit easier if you have to.
Yeah, only one can currently fit unless he trades Prize Plunder. Alright. Double Flinger. Doesn't even need to happen, honestly.
Sure.
Did he fit in the heal? Sorry, my spec just froze for a bit.
Mine too. But now with 15 damage able to come down, it's getting a little scarier.
I thought that was Solar Eclipse for a second, and my eyes bulged out of my head, but it is, in fact, the Lunar instead. But you're right, Alutemu is still in this. We could see the other Gibberling come down with the Lunar Eclipse and Pride's Fury or Arbor up. I feel like the health is quite valuable at the moment, but the 2 additional minions is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, you can even fit in Mark of the Spike Shell first, if you wanted to, right? To get another minion buffed. But he prefers the
hero power is a bit valuable here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he just needs to do it to survive, actually, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Nicely done.
And so GivePLZ is looking for the other stab in there. It is. Okay, that was anticlimactic, wasn't it? I thought Alutemu had a chance to pull this one back, but in the end, too much damage from the previous turn, even though it wasn't immediate lethal, even though the Penflingers got nerfed. I think the real turn where everything was decided for GivePLZ was when he had the full clear on a full Glowfly board and didn't even have to lose any of his minions. That was insane.
And he set up for it very nicely. Like, although Alutemu ended up losing that game, I liked a lot of what I saw on both sides of that game. The preemptive field contact when it got very little value, even saving the Shadow Step for potentially replaying a Prize Plunderer later on, I thought was excellent knowledge there of how to approach things from GivePLZ. And then for Alutemu being very patient, waiting for the perfect time to go for the Glowfly. Obviously it didn't work because there was far too much development from the Rogue up until that point, but it was the best chance he had in my opinion, and both players piloted it very well.
Again, we can ask some questions about guess the weight. I mean, I just want to look at every token druid top level player there was and ask what kind of opinion they have on whether Guess the Weight is a card that is kept depending on the matchup, depending on whether you're on play or on coin, or if it really is just a preference thing. Token Druid is the type of deck where the mulligan feels like it is the most important part of the deck, honestly, but it's so difficult to evaluate whether or not something was on average better than the other, because the draws are so far in either end of the spectrum, and average draws don't quite cut it for Token Druid.
Yeah, you got to shoot for the stars, and then even if you miss, Gia, you'll land in the clouds. For Alutemu now on the incorrectly named Post Rogue, this is absolutely 100% Weapon Rogue, Aggro Rogue, Stealth Rogue, whatever you want to call it. Many different names. I realized I didn't actually have a correct positioning, correct name for it there. You're very much relying on not the minion presence anymore, basically at all. This is a 100% weapon burn deck now, which could be pretty frustrating to play against, in all honesty, when Cloak of Shadows just allows you to not interact at all with your opponent's game plan for like 2 turns later on. But in terms of a meta bring here to the tournament lineup, I think it's pretty spot on from Alutemu, and it could do some very strong things.
That's right. I think it's got a great matchup against Priest that is not playing Ooze, and even if they do play the Ooze, like oftentimes it's not 2 copies, and that's your Bank Yugi, and sometimes they don't even draw it. And then it's also got a pretty good matchup against Mage, in my opinion. What's really interesting here to me is whether it has the capacity to raise the Demon Hunter, for example, from GivePLZ, but maybe the Eldrazi Warblades would be a bit too much of a stress point.
That could be a big one, obviously, to swing the health back in GivePLZ's favor. I think what really the Rogue struggles against isn't even healing anymore, it's taunts. That's what you really want to be hitting as the control decks, because they do have a small amount of removal. Some of the lists are running Coerce, although I think Alutemu is not running that. They run Prize Plunderers to clear some of the stuff out of the way. But basically, if you can set up a big taunt in the way, it's incredibly difficult for the Weapon Rogue to clear it up and keep going face. Obviously, this Control Priest does not have access to that unless it can generate it somehow, which is actually quite difficult to do nowadays as the Priest, unless you can get it off Draconic Studies, I suppose. But it does just overall feel like a very good matchup for Alutemu. Despite Control Priest being traditionally such a strong anti-aggro deck, they just can't survive against all the damage that Swine Tusk Shank can put forward.
I agree, especially since Priest's biggest burst healing is often off the back of Samuro and it triggering its frenzy on a whole bunch of minions. Well, this Rogue just doesn't kind of play minions after Wand Maker. That's it. They are all in on the weapons. By then, they should have drawn Self-Sharpening Sword or Swine Tusk Shank, or you just didn't get the draw that is justifying why the deck is actually a deck. And this list from GivePLZ, no Ooze in sight, so I do agree that the Draconic Studies will be very important here. Can GivePLZ hit the Amalgam? Can he hit the Crimson Hothead or the Skeletal Drake? I think those are the 3 taunt dragons we're looking for.
Or, man, what is it even called? The 412 with Taunt Sleeping Dragon?
Oh, Sleepy Dragon, yeah.
Sleepy Dragon, yeah. A lot of Sleepy Dragons, Dreaming Drake. These dragons need to wake up and start doing something here for the Priest. But yes, overall, those are what you're really looking for, especially with an Apotheosis stuck on it as well, to get the heal while you're taunting. Because outside of that, it's not going to be an easy one for GivePLZ. But even if he takes the L here, still at 1 game apiece. So I like his position still, even if he ends up losing here, especially as this Priest is very much powerful against the rest of Alutemu's lineup. It's just this one poor matchup that I think could hinder him.
Alutemu with the full mill here, no surprises. You are looking for weapons, 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 and I guess Spy Mistress.
Yeah, even then, I think it's at the point where you might just mulligan away Spy Mistress if you don't have the Shank or the Self-Sharpening Sword. It's literally just all you care about finding.
In the shadows.
But you'll still take the Spy Mistress when you can. And this list from GivePLZ is the one that is running Sethic and Raised Dead. I have come around to preferring this list over the more removal-heavy list from Priest, because I think Priest does still need minion presence in a lot of matchups to close out games and constantly threaten Apotheosis.
Oh, are we at the point where it's like dagger into coin cutting class. Yeah, no. Again, the weapon, the card draw, sorry, is all you care about here to find the weapon as soon as possible. And there are a couple of ways you can go about that. Like, I guess paralytic into swindle is maybe a bit more reasonable, but every poison you use up is just another charge deleted from your swine tusk later on.
It's true. I do think Alutemu can wait one more turn and go for, like you said, most likely paralytic swindle, because at least the poison also cheapens the cutting class a bit further if you want to look at it that way. GivePLZ with the first Scorpid gets... I guess the Auspicious is another chance at a taunt if you want to be very optimistic. And it's just on curve for him next turn, so I like that.
I think it's probably the best. Like, you can be very optimistic with Psych Split, but with no Apotheosis even in hand, you just don't really care about anything else. Minion pressure on your side does very little. It's just about trying to find the roadblocks for the weapon, or praying they don't have it, for that matter.
And I really like going Coin Swindle here for Alutemu. With the draw of Prize Plunder, he can go Paralytic, or with one other playable spell, and then have the Prize Plunderer for getting rid of the Scorpion without having to sink minion damage into it.
And I mean, now he can just go for Spy Mistress into Prize Plunderer, get more threats on the board. Obviously, you're then pretty vulnerable to, to the Condemn if that were to come down. But I guess here Alutemu just saying exactly what this deck is trying to do. Does it care about fighting for board? No, it does not. All this Prize Plunder is here for is to remove those 1 or 2 taunts that we were talking about that GivePLZ might be able to generate.
That says a lot. I mean, it plays around exactly Condemn, like you said, because I was thinking, is this a play around Hysteria? But no, they both had Stealth, so not necessarily. But certainly Alutemu's eyes are on the prize, that prize being the sword or the shank.
And so a full 4-mana cutting class, sure, you will take it. And there it is. The Self-Sharpening Sword. It's not really the one you're looking for. Most of all, you would rather have the shank in order to keep the charges rolling and rolling and rolling. But it's not a bad start. And honestly, it can just get there in its own right if you find another Deadly Poison or another Nitro boost as well.
Right. For Alutemu, the question is whether he feels this 2-4 is worth removing. How bad is Apotheosis for him right now? I think for GivePLZ, even if you're not super damaged yet, this is the kind of matchup where if you can just land an Apotheosis at any point and the minion is not low health, you probably just take it. Because it's a persistent threat that Alutemu would have to consider at some point. And I think that's a big reason for why Alutemu gets rid of the 2-4 immediately.
Well, there's Apotheosis in order to get the healing rolling. It's kind of annoying that Blademaster Samurai plus Apo, despite being against an aggro burn deck, is like a useless combo because there's just going to be nothing on board. So maybe it just comes down on the Scorpid in the next couple of turns instead.
But for Alutemu, this is certainly looking like sword, poison, poison, a swing face to me. Well, you could swing the Scorpid, I guess.
Well, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about passage on this turn, because if you find the Swine Tusk Shank here, your hand gets a lot better, right? Like, you don't want to go for Self-Sharpening Sword and use up all these charges of poisons if you can help it. Maybe I'm
true.
I might be being overly
poisons. Yeah, I mean, Alutemu is clearly struggling with 2 of us, the angel and devil on his shoulder. It feels like. But the fact that neither of these poisons is the Silver Leaf that helps him keep cycling is certainly the sticking point. If you got Silver Leaf, I think you're fine to go off on Self-Sharpening Sword. The fact that he didn't is making him hesitate a little bit more. And he doesn't even go for the first charge here. That's very interesting. Maybe once again, paying respect to Apotheosis.
And now, obviously, we are going with the passage. Card draw buffs. Shank no longer really a good draw, however, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what is he really looking for off of the passage is the question. I have to imagine purely Silver Leaf Poison. Cutting class 2. Okay, he gets the poison, the good one. And another poison. At this point, you're not going to bother with the Shank.
Yeah, this is enough to just close out the game right now. One of the wicked stabs, I'd throw that down just so I don't draw it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't... Oh, okay. If you get Swindle, then you're playing that instead. But I was going to say, this game, if it arrives to the point where Alutemu is at 10 mana, he is probably not in a good spot. So the Wicked Stab's probably just going to deal 4 damage apiece. Okay, double Apotheosis for GivePLZ. One of those is certainly coming down this turn.
Yeah, at least forcing them to answer it is a big deal, because I think they can't really afford to leave up an Apotheosis minion. Even if it's only healing 3, it's still that little bit too scary. And with the double prize Plunderer, it deserves a hit.
After the first Apotheosis, then every buff spell becomes a threat. Even if it's like Nightmare off a Ysera or Generated Power Infusion. But Alutemu could go for a just cloak into cloak. That's one way to turn off lifesteal, barring, you know,
good point.
That type of thing.
Yeah, that might honestly be better. And then you just don't have to play a single minion at all for them to even rush into with the Apo.
Problem is, can Alutemu clear this out in 3 turns? Priest still has their natural hero power. He hasn't seen any renews or generated, say, Ash Heal, Desperate Prayer. Those are not naturally in GivePLZ's deck, to be fair, though.
Really wanted one of the poisons there.
I think he has to hit the Scorpion and then just play a Prize Plunder, get rid of the Wand Thief. Okay,
wow.
If he's doing this, he's looking for, I don't even know, Cutting Class.
There it is. He's got to go quick now. Another Deadly Poison is huge. He can just keep swinging face with that, I guess.
Yeah, surely with only 3 charges left, one's got to go face, right? Oh! Did he fit in the Wicked Stab, or... Maybe you just don't play... Actually, even if you do prep, I don't think it's worth it to play it, because GivePLZ is just going to heal at least 2, so the 4 damage is kind of moot.
It does mean...
It looks like he ended on 10 cards.
Yeah, that's the problem with this line.
Which means both the stabs are in the deck and can possibly be burnt. Big deal.
It's a tough situation. A very, very tough one.
The dark path is my destiny.
And obviously GivePLZ going as wide as he can on board. He wants to make sure that if he can, obviously he always has an Apotheosis target, but just that he burns as much as possible from Alutemu and tries to force him to have to clear something.
So the loss of 1 stab hurts, but Alutemu does have the setup. He has 19, given that the self-sharpening does 10 next turn. And then 2 of the Sinister Strikes, and then the remaining cards, there's still one more there's one more stab, right? And he has the Secret Passage, so he's guaranteed to have it by next turn.
Yeah, it would only deal 4, but that's still enough, right, I think. Assuming they can't heal for too much, yeah.
I think so.
Problem is really that they just have the natural heal. Again, it's not just the Apotheosis, it's if they found Renews, you do start to get into some pretty deep trouble.
Right. But Alutemu simply cannot play around that. His deck does literally nothing else at the moment. All of the weapons, dead cards here, Prize Plunderers. If you play them on board, you're likely just not even removing damage from the board. It just gives GivePLZ a way to heal with Apotheosis. And you can see here the Alex is available as well. Oh, the burnt stab just hurts too much.
That's brutal.
He hits face, goes another weapon plus cloak here. And that's it. That's his only option.
Yeah, the only card he has left is Silverleaf, and I think it's Wandmaker, right, is his last card, which could give him another poison, obviously, to go alongside the Swine Tusk, but I don't know if I see it getting there.
Well, Flash Heal as well. It's not getting there.
Get out of here.
It is not getting there, Derek. Draconic Sight. We were talking about Taunt. Probably doesn't matter at this point, but if GivePLZ wants, you can add insult to injury if he does hit the taunt.
And the really important thing here for me as Alutemu does just throw it down 0-2 now to GivePLZ. The turn where he overdrew the Wicked Stab, obviously you have to look at ways he could have optimized that to not overdraw a card. But really for me, the absolute crucial point was where he decided to go in on the self-sharpening sword instead of the Swine Tusk Shank, which was a logical choice. He had only the one weapon and had a whole bunch of buffs. He wanted to get it played and start dealing damage. But maybe if he'd saved it, instead gone for the preemptive secret passage instead of after the self-sharpening sword, he may have found enough charges to deliver the lethal damage. It would have been really close.
Certainly worth thinking about. I can't remember if he had the other passage in hand as well, but it's certainly true that in this matchup, you're okay to wait and let Priest develop for a bit. Even let them stay at 30 deliberately, like Alutemu did for a couple turns. If you're sure that you can constantly deal damage that's a quarter of their health turn after turn, and then just have it all be consecutive, so you give Priest the least window possible to incrementally gain healing. I want to look back at the start of the match and ask Alutemu, if I could, what he thinks is the better game plan on average, if he saw how everything got played out. But, you know, this is a deck that's still, I think, very much not played by the majority of Rogue players, and we could see it develop even further in terms of how to mulligan. Same with Token Druid.
Very possibly. Again, I liked the vast majority of what he did, and even that turn with the self-sharpening sword, in the end I probably would have just ended up on the same choice, because you can't expect that much healing on average from the Priest. Like, he had every healing card that you can get by that point with the Renews, Alex Strauss' Apotheosis, even a flash heal at the end. It's just very difficult to overcome all of that healing, but that is pretty disastrous for Alutemu if we think about it. The point of this weapon rogue wasn't specifically to beat Priest. It's probably looking to have a slightly better chance against Mage, but it was still a good matchup that you were hoping to bank a win on. And from there, with the secret Libram Paladin now all having to take, well, GivePLZ just has to take one win with his Demon Hunter. It's looking good for him.
And sorry, I did not update the name on this. This is not Libram Paladin. It is secret, though. It's the aggro Paladin that we were seeing from Tom last week and from a whole lot more players this week. We do have Alutemu on the same list as Glory, I believe, with the Righteous Protector and Argent Squire. So they're very all-in on landing sticky one-cost minions, taking full advantage of Hand of Adal and, of course, Conviction.
That's the big one for me. Conviction feels like such a boost to this deck, which is why I'm very sympathetic to the style of build that Alutemu and Glory have gone for, where they have double Argent Squire as well as double Righteous Protector as well, just having maximum Divine Shieldage in the early game, just to try and stick anything, because once turn 5 knocks about and you have Conviction rank 2 for 6 damage for 1 mana, it's absolutely absurd. And any deck that doesn't have a completely clear board versus the Paladin on turn 5 can just lose on the spot, which, again, the Demon Hunter is kind of, it can do that, but does it want to do that? You can clear off pretty much any board that Paladin will develop in the early game, but do you want to do that, or do you have to let them build it up and then sweep a removal, or are you just kind of letting them build up an unbeatable board in the mid game?
It's really tough to find that balance. I would honestly be still partial to the Demon Hunter in the matchup, just looking at how Immolation Aura interacts with Divine Shield and just the shape of minions that Alutemu is running. Argent Squire, Righteous Protector, Murder McGurgle, and even Goody Two Shields to an extent. They feel very fragile, and not to mention GivePLZ is also running a copy of Throwglaive that also seems pretty effective against Paladin, but there are certainly shapes of boards that can be too difficult to deal with even if there is AoE, and that's mostly Care of Secrets. We have double Avenge in the list and double Oh My Yogg, so maximum disruption.
And it's also Care of the top end of the deck. There's not much of it, but with Taylan Forging in there to draw you Kazakus, as well as obviously the Hammer of the Narus, there's some minions that are difficult for Demon Hunter to deal with. They don't like those kind of 2 5/5s on the board from Kazakus Golem. The single 6 mana taunt in the way can be difficult for them to answer.
Yeah. And if we talk about the macro of this matchup and how to approach it just as Demon Hunter. This, in my opinion, is a matchup where Demon Hunter can just play straight control. They don't need the OTK as a win condition, because if they just don't go for all the card draw off of their discoveries, for example, I think Paladin on average will see the end of their deck more often, given that GivePLZ is not necessarily looking to go for OTK as the win condition, the sort of the Fallen drawing cards and that type of thing. The one sticking point for that, though, is Kazakus. If Alutemu feels like the matchup is heading in that direction where he's just completely run out of gas and GivePLZ has said, I'm okay giving up my combo pieces as long as I get rid of all your minions, then Alutemu can think about taking greedier golems. And I'm interested to see if it will actually play out that way.
Interesting choice at the start there for Alutemu with the Omayog versus Knight of the Fallen, because not Knight of the Fallen. Where did I get that from? Knight of Anointment, the Sword of the Fallen. Because it can just be hero powered down at the start, and it does also have the ability to draw you Avenge as the one holy secret. So you would rather swing with Sword of the Fallen first, then play the Knight of Anointment instead. And he does get the bad result. With Avenge being found, it's a little awkward as to how his hand is filled up with a lot of secrets now.
That is true, but I can certainly understand just prioritizing getting the minion on board, especially the way this worked out with GivePLZ, where he actually coined Spectral Sight instead of just going for hero power, which surprised me a little bit and is already making me feel bad. I spent so much time talking about how Demon Hunter doesn't necessarily need to go for OTK. GivePLZ is all about the cycle right now. Okay. Goody 2 shields certainly is catching my attention here, but the Arcane Anomaly is decent with secrets playable.
It's pretty sick, right? With Avenge as well, it's going to be tricky to clear up this whole board.
To me, it's just astounding we've gone this long without sort of the Fallen hitting the board. It just goes to show that this is a matchup where you prioritize minions. GivePLZ using the Og Merchant here very efficiently to get rid of that Goody 2 shields. He is sitting on so much healing. Look at this, Moarg, talented Arcanist with the Fellscream Blast and I-Beam. Of course, he doesn't need to play them all together at once, but I think it's going to be rough for Alutemu.
It's a strong hand, for sure, for GivePLZ. It's the kind of hand that you have to be careful not to trip up over, though, because with Omayog and the Galloping Savior and even Avenge, they're all very tricky secrets to make sure that you are not giving them a 3-4 at the end that you can't kill, that they can then buff, or losing your key heal turn if you go Moarg, Talented Arcanist, and then I-Beam and it gets Omayogged. You got to be careful, but agreed, it's still looking very strong for him.
Alutemu pulled Avenge off of the first swing, and then he had his choice of Omayog or the Galloping that he drew to play. So I think this is pretty cool in that with 2 secrets played, they're almost certainly going to test for Omayog anyway. So Alutemu might get the full benefit of 3 secrets together, if you know what I mean. Okay. GivePLZ, though, was all right with that being Omayog, I guess. Okay.
I think it's fine. I mean, there was a small concern as to whether you kill the other minion, even though it had like less stats, just because this one can grow to the point where it's a little difficult to kill with the way your hand is looking.
Yeah. That means the only secret left in Alutemu's deck is the other Omayog, and he pulls it. Other Sword of the Fallen in the deck useless now, kind of unfortunate. And more unfortunate than that, I think, is just the failure to find further card draw or conviction. You need one of those to close out the game, in my opinion. You can't go for the Allen positioning special with Argent Squire. But,
yeah, for Alutemu, it looked like he could bluff the secret if he didn't play it there, but I think because the card in his hand was drawn off of Knight of Anointment, GivePLZ knew that it was Avenge, so he actually had 100% information on what the secrets were anyway. As while I was talking, he got Omayogged into Secret Passage, losing all of his healing, all of his clear. He might be able to save it, though?
So if you go Immolation Aura, Hero Power, and Fellscream Blast, that
Well,
yeah, the galloping goes off. So
yeah, I'm looking at deliberate... Well, first of all, you can just not proc it and go Immolation or a hero power, but I'm kind of looking at deliberately procking it and then going Immolation last, plus a swing to clear it off.
there's Avenge too, right? So I think
that's
it's actually
true.
swing into the 5/5 and then Immolation, then you just don't proc anything.
But then you're... Oh, yeah, they all die at the same time. Yeah. Or does it? Because it deals 1 damage twice, right? Just Avenge in the middle.
I don't know.
It does.
Oh my gosh, that's a disaster then.
Yeah.
Wow, that secret passage was insane! Best Oh My Yog I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But Alutemu is not out of the woods. He has not gotten Conviction, as far as I can see, which is a holy spell as well. So that means GivePLZ still has a bunch of healing next turn.
Oh, man, it's so close. Like, Alutemu is right knocking on the door of just winning the game and getting his foot in the door, at least in this series. But if GivePLZ is clever about this, he can just heal right back up for 1,000,000.
Oh, but can he? It's 2 Divine Shield minions.
That's true. Oh.
And he also played Oh My Yog. And
Yeah.
he can position the Dormant. Okay, I don't really know what the ideal positioning is here. I think it's supposed to be the Dormant between Murgle and the 4/2. Right?
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's in the box? Flash heal?
Okay.
Okay. So, Gnosis is Galloping Savior. So he tanks this Divine Shield, and then you go Moarg, Ethereal Fell Scream. Or, okay, this is also a lot.
Oh, maybe this positioning from Alutemu was correct, because now he can't clear the 3 important minions here.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah, that was actually sick. That made a big difference.
He sticks the 3/4 now. Okay, that's a top deck. A big one.
That
Rid
is
of the Moarg.
Yep, you got to kill the Moarg. And then that thing
This
you do
goes-
not care about.
Absolutely. And his Murloc is going off next turn.
Oh, it's so close. Like, the spell damage here from GivePLZ can make it so it's 4 damage on the Fell Scream
Right.
Blast, right? Which you could then follow up with Aldraki Warblades to clear off everything except the Murloc, of course.
Yeah, he has to go for it.
Yeah.
And so he heals for 8, then goes down by 6, and then heals for 2 again. So it's still a net heal. Yeah, GivePLZ has this in the bag, I think.
He does, but there are draws where Alutemu can just outvalue him. Like, if he gets Talan / Kazakus in the next couple of turns and GivePLZ bricks on the draw, it's definitely not over. Especially as this weapon is just good. Like, a 3 attack weapon is clearing up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, this does come down to a top deck war. The thing is, I just believe GivePLZ's average top decks are a lot better.
Agreed.
He runs more card draw. And as it stands, he's ahead on board because Alutemu can't actually clear the Moarg. And the Conviction feels bad to play preemptively here because then GivePLZ will have his choice of what to trade.
Yeah, he's thinking of preemptively bumping just so at least it can't VT.
I actually think then maybe you hit the 1/2 because that can also VT.
Yeah, and it has spell damage as well, so sure.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, it's over.
Oh, get out of here. Yep.
GivePLZ is just a 3-0 machine, isn't he? He cannot be stopped.
3-0's Surrender last week, 3-0's Alutemu this week.
Oh, but he got 3-0'd by Alutemu last week, if I recall.
Revenge.
So Throwglaive gets rid of 2 of these. I don't think he's pressed to play like Blood Mage Thalnos necessarily or fit in a hero power. You do just play the Thalnos because it's free.
Yeah, you just get the draw. The problem, I guess, is like, how does he win? Because, like, taking a look at his deck, obviously he has Il'gynoth, but he's played a lot of the spell damage, or sorry, He's played a lot of the lifesteal spells, so I-Beam is the only one left that actually does anything there. He's used all of his Moargs, and so in the end he's just going face as his game plan, because he actually doesn't have a way to win the game. You know, he can go Il'gynoth and Talented Arcanist and I-Beam. That's only 5 damage.
That is true. And he has drawn way more than Alutemu. That's the way he just decided to play the game from the get-go. And he also didn't play Throglaive because he wants to just get all the glaives next turn, and he says it's okay even if I get a bunch of damage to my face with Conviction. And Alutemu is not taking the bait. He's just gonna wait for Conviction to go all the way up to rank 3. Wow, this is such a weird play out to this game. Just clear, and Il'gynoth here should like close out the game though.
I wonder if I called it too soon. Like, what is his actual win condition? How does he get the win here? Like, he can obviously go Il'gynoth, and as long as it sticks, that deal 4 damage a turn.
I mean, hold on. Let's take a look at what is left in GivePLZ's deck. Il'gynoth, Spectral Sight, Arcanist, Chaos Strike. So Spectral, useless. Il'gynoth, only win condition, if you even want to call it that. Arcanist, some synergy with I-Beam and Il'gynoth. So if we look at that all together, I-Beam, Arcanist, Il'gynoth is 10 burst.
Right.
That's a lot. And he can just, you know, reliably get this Thalnos to deal damage along with its natural hero power. So it's a scrappy win condition, but it exists. This draw though from Alutemu!
Oh, guaranteed Kazakus. Guaranteed 5 mana Golem, you'd have to imagine, unless he wants to super greed it with 10. That could just be enough on its own.
But this is 2 draws for GivePLZ with Chaos and the Thalnos, and he's very likely to hit Il'gynoth. He's guaranteed to hit Il'gynoth with the Talented Arcanist. So I think that locks it out because you just go for the clear on Talon now. You fit in the hero power. And next turn is Chaos Strike. Even if they have the Kazakas, it's not going to deal immediate lethal.
It doesn't have to deal immediate lethal though, right? Like, if you hit lifesteal and deal damage, or lifesteal and freeze. Oh no, wait, it was the McGurgle Prime that gets summoned anyway, not the Kazakus because it got shuffled in, but then he just drew it off the top anyway.
Oh my goodness, too much happening.
So I think you just take that miracle of getting the Kazakus anyway, right? Like,
yeah.
You know you're dead unless you hit Rush off McGurgle, and even then it still deals damage.
Yeah, so for Kazakus, he can look for Shoot Poison or Rush on the 5/5s. There's Rush.
There's Rush.
Oh, but every time he hits Il'gynoth, it also...
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe you just take Freeze.
Freeze!
You can freeze both of them and then just hit face next turn.
Yeah.
With the upgraded Conviction. Yeah.
Freeze was the out. So do you just Conviction now, so you guaranteed hit the 1/1?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sorry, this is 3 minions. This is 3 minions.
Yeah. As long as he hits one of the 5/5s, which is guaranteed, he can still clear it off. And I think either way you want to go about it here, it leads to a win. But this will do it.
Unbelievable the way this played out. He actually just fatigued the Demon Hunter.
Oh. Alutemu is so sick, man. Like, again, the fact that we misremembered that there was even a prime in the deck for from the McGurgle. Like, if he hadn't got that Kazakus off the top, which he was far from guaranteed, it would have been an L. But such small things mattering so much. Again, saying that, like, the positioning with the Sungill Warrior was wrong, that turned out to be correct in the end to protect the horse from the damage. It's the minor things like this that keep Alutemu in seemingly unwinnable games.
It's amazing how that turned out. And yes, it did have to be a very, very fortunate top deck at the end there, but you have to hand it to Alutemu, how he was playing from the very beginning. There was already choices about whether you play a minion or a secret. How do you time the secrets? Are you supposed to prioritize buffs or the sword? And he did prioritize maximum damage immediately. That is what caused GivePLZ to go for a full control route game plan. And we can see that actually just didn't get there in the end because he didn't have combo combo pieces for Il'gynoth. It's a lot of good micro play, but you have to not underestimate the macro choices that came to play in this one instance.
And while I like GivePLZ, I think he's a good addition to Grandmasters. I'm happy to see him here. I'm believing in the sweep now, Gia. It's starting to come together. I thought so completely that Alutemu had lost, he was out, and was going to have to try again next week. If he can pull this one around, go to the semi-finals, maybe even get the win in the finals, oh, it would be too sick to even imagine. And so I'm hoping at least that he can take us to Game 5, and from there, I'd be happy with either result. But for now, it is going to be in our next game, the Druid, obviously, once again, against the Demon Hunter. And if that matchup was close, at least this next one has to be close, with the Druid obviously suffering heavily against all of the Demon Hunter's removal.
Indeed, but of course, Pride's Fury, that is kind of a backbreaker card for for Demon Hunter to deal with, because if anything gets to a 5 health breakpoint, that's when it starts to get really rough for Demon Hunter. They have to spend more than 2 cards. At 4 health, you can do something like Talented Arcanist and Immolation Aura and be very happy, but when you have to spend 3 combo pieces at once and you don't even necessarily have the mana or that combination in your hand to begin with, it can get very scary. So I expect Alutemu to be going for a slow and greedier approach to this. This is not a matchup where you go all in with Gibberling right away, because Immolation Aura deals with it so easily.
Interesting start there for GivePLZ. I was honestly kind of looking at keeping the Philosophy and the Moog to the left of the skull, just because it was a guaranteed way to not have it stuck in the middle of your hand. Obviously, they're not great cards, but they're not bad cards in the matchup. Like, having an early Moog to up your removal capabilities was tempting to me for sure.
Certainly worth thinking about. The only punish is Lunar Eclipse if you leave a Moarg on the board, which Druid is not keeping. So, I mean, worth thinking about for sure. Alutemu gonna start off with Guess the Weight here, I have to assume. Okay, Glowfly entering the hand. Plan is starting to come together, but again, Glowfly without any buffs hitting the board is a recipe for disaster. So he's really looking for further card draw into, okay, Fungal Fortunes and a Lightning Bloom to make everything come together.
It's coming together now. That was, I think, Glide and Dreadlord's Bite as the other 2 options, which, you know, I think we've seen Glide enough times at this point for a lifetime.
True. I said he needed further card draw and Lightning Bloom, and Alutemu, he got it. Next turn, we could see Glowfly with Power of the Wild. Solar is also in the hand now. Oh, man.
Maybe that's not even the play. Like, you can get some disgusting plays here with Gibberling, you know, Solar into Power of the Wild, maybe even with Thorn Growth as well. It's like, there's a lot of mana to play with here.
Yeah. So if you go for the Gibberling play with double Power of the Wild, you get 3 health on everything.
Yeah.
If you go Glowfly with Power of the Wild, it's also 3 health on everything. But I think if you start with Gibber, then Glowfly kind of sucks. Whereas if you start with Glowfly, the Gibber still might be okay the turn after.
I don't know. I'm kind of coming around. I guess they end up on 3 health. I was thinking if you go Gibberling, Solar, Power of the Wild, you still end up with 3 health guys, the same as if you go Innovate, Glowfly, Bloom into Power of the Wild.
It's just my thinking that if you go Gibberling, you play so many spells that the Glowfly is probably not good after, so I think you start with Glowfly. It's true, though, that you lose a lot of the best spells to pair with Gibberling, which are the 0 cost. But, oh, Alutemu is just not playing Power altogether. Interesting.
I'm okay with this. Like, if it sticks, you go Turbo mode.
Yeah.
Obviously, and if it doesn't, you just go again.
True. Yeah, I think the fact he picked up second Glowfly is the game changer here. But surely he has to play 1 Power of the Wild, right? Second... Oh, and the Thalnos sticking. So because there's a Thalnos on board, even if you do play Power of the Wild, second Immolation Aura is a backbreaker.
Kind of, right? Because the Thalnos dies the first time, right? So it would only deal 1 damage on the second AoE?
Right, so that's still 3, and that kills the Glowfly with Power of the Wild anyway.
Oh, sorry, I was already thinking about Soul of the Forest here. Like,
okay.
Yeah, with the Gibberling here. I'd moved on already, Gia. Keep up with the things I'm not telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with that play because it is more resistant to the best things that GivePLZ can do. The downside is you probably lose out on a good Glowfly afterward, but
Yeah.
I like going for the window that he has right now to build a board that actually sticks around.
Time waits for no one.
It seems like there's no more time to gibber. It's going to be Glowfly again. And for GivePLZ, we haven't talked about his perspective once since the mulligan happened. But he is going for, I guess, another I-beam as well. Because he did keep the skull. I don't want it
no
active.
removal. This is getting scary.
Yeah. So you can shoot the 2-1. Dump an I-beam. And dump the Fell Scream Blast because you really just want to outcast Skull and hit more removal. Oh man, if you leave that many minions on board though, is it even good enough if you draw removal after this turn? Because then Pride's Fury, Arbor up, Soul of the Forest. That's why GivePLZ goes for the 1 draw right now, looking for his second Immolation Aura, and it's not there.
And now the punish, you have to imagine, is going to be coming through for Alutemu. Like, if GivePLZ wants to hold on to this I-beam, which I don't think realistically you can get away with, you're not close enough to the combo where you can cheese out a win in the next couple of turns.
Oh! No, this is a really hard turn, because we could see Solar and Power of the Wild, or Solar and Soul of the Forest.
Yeah.
And the double Soul of the Forest feels redundant if you're going to fit in the gibbering board, because if GivePLZ has found the other Immolation Aura, you don't even get the full benefit out of the double Death Rattles on your minions.
But just buffing 4 minions doesn't even feel like enough. Like, I want to fit in either the Gibbling or the Thorn Growth in some capacity on this turn.
What if it's Thorn Growth and then just Solar Eclipse and Power of the Wild, and you just hold off on the Soul of the Forest? Because last turn he had quite a good read on no Immolation Aura in hand.
Yeah, I don't hate that. You're obviously looking at Skull into a draw, but it's kind of unlikely that they get Skull into exactly Immolation, being there's only 1 left and an extra buff to actually clear everything off with spell damage.
Oh, cutting it close is Alutemu. Wow, he holds off on the Solar altogether as well. I'm not sure I like this. The Solar Eclipse, they don't push damage anymore, the Solar Eclipses, at least with this current hand. Yes, they can get more Soul of the Forest if this board is clear and he has the Gibberling, but it certainly felt like the durability plus immediate face damage was more valuable since he has double Eclipse in hand at the moment.
But I think now we're looking at pretty much exactly Philosophy Coin Skull into Moarg plus the second Immolation Aura, right? Unless you want to go...
it has to be the perfect skull.
You can just go Chaos Strike and hope to hit it with Talented Arcanist, and so it's like 1 draw at 1 card, or 3 draws at needing 2 cards, one of which is a 2-of. I'm not going to try and guess which is more likely there, but my instincts will say it's Skull here is the best way to go.
Double jump doesn't really change anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, GivePLZ. He's going for it, and it has to be the perfect combination discounted by the skull in order to get rid of this board. That's a miss, and that is a miss.
No damage, but no damage even really needed, right? It's only 1 that he needs to take the game here with 12, 16, and so he goes Solar into Nature Studies. One of these has to deliver lethal. Amulet will do the job. There we go.
Absolutely. Mark of the Wild as well.
Yeah, even throwing down Solar Eclipse as well, because why not? Let's see a little BM from Alutemu to take the win here and equalize us at 2 games apiece. We're going all the way to game 5 when I was already giving my spiel at the end of the last game about how GivePLZ got another full sweep against Alutemu, but it looks like it might be the reverse sweep as he turns around and pushes up his non-existent glasses. This is truly a heartbreaking moment for GivePLZ.
Well, we can't call it that just yet. He's not out. We are going to game 5. And the matchup, in my opinion, is honestly really tough to say. I thought this was Miracle Rogue for Alutemu for a second, and I was going to say Demon Hunter has this in the back, but this is the Weapon Rogue. And Demon Hunter faces very similar problems to Priest in the fact that if Rogue doesn't play any minions, then they don't have, you know, things to target with I-Beam. There's, of course, Eldrazi Warblade still for the Demon Hunter that can go face, but then Rogue has Cloak of Shadows. And the big difference between Demon Hunter and Priest is that Priest has spells that just say heal your face, or Renew essentially says heal your face in that matchup, and then they can generate Flash Heal, Desperate Prayer, etc. Demon Hunter has a much harder time doing that. So Alutemu might have a chance in this.
He very much will. The other difference, though, between Demon Hunter and Priest in regards to their matchup against the Weapon Rogue is that there is a clock for Demon Hunter. They are actually moving towards a win condition. Even if they have the stealth on the Rogue itself and you can't target them, you can still kill them. You can just blow up your own board with the OTK Demon Hunter combo. It can get there. But at the same time, if you can survive all the damage by just healing up for like 20 twice in a game, maybe that will be enough and they'll just run out of poisons. Because again, both of these decks rely purely on their like alternate win condition, be it the weapon damage from the Weapon Rogue or the OTK combo from Demon Hunter. They do not gain board control, quite simply.
Agreed.
Job's done.
GivePLZ immediately picking up healing here. I guess the other 2 cards didn't give him relevant enough board presence to warrant picking over healing. Alutemu thankfully picks up a 1-drop to start off his curve, but he's still missing weapons, and I do think he will have that secret passage to look for specifically Shank in mind.
Yeah, because it is just another game with no weapon to get going in this hand. Getting Brain Freeze, again, not really what you're looking for. You just want Deadly Poison or Paralytic Poison to have any chance of getting enough damage.
And the Throw Glaive is perfect for GivePLZ here to clear and not take any additional damage. I completely expect next turn for Alutemu to be Coin Passage. Try and hit one of your 4 weapons, and if you don't, well, you don't think about that world.
I mean, if he hits Swine Tusk with double Silverleaf in hand, he will draw his entire deck. He just has to get it.
So 4 chances, 4 out of 23 cards. I cannot do the math quickly enough. It doesn't feel particularly likely, though.
Oh! He's just good, Gia. He's just good.
Why did we ever doubt? He even got Paralytic. Okay, Alutemu. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to double, triple check. No oozes in the list for GivePLZ, so he doesn't have the opportunity to destroy the weapon. And I've got to say, this is looking bad for GivePLZ. This is looking very, very bad right out the gate.
This is looking like... Oh, man. Like, he needs to race and find his combo. And to be fair, he's 1 Fell Scream Blast away and a lot of mana, but...
A lot of mana.
Okay.
I like the optimism, but yeah, it's looking quite a ways off.
Yeah. And Alutemu, meanwhile, Deadly Poison, Silverleaf Poison keeps the cycle going. 2 more durability on his Swine Tusk Shank. Alternatively, double Silverleaf and just draw twice.
Yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Like, he's prioritizing the damage now because it's unlikely. I mean, obviously, he will have spent all his mana, so the double card draw doesn't matter right now.
True. And just more damage right now, you give the Demon Hunter less of a window to even think about trying to race.
So is it just Arcanist Spectral Sight to up your card draw? It gives you more chances of hitting Skull for the next turn, but obviously unless you get it as the exact card that's top decked, you're not going to have it outcast either, so drawing more cards now, in a way, isn't even that good.
But I do think we're at a point where you just want the skull in hand,
Yeah.
even if you don't get the outcast. What he's looking for, I think, is the Raging Spell Screamer, actually,
Right.
to be able to cheat out the combo earlier than turn 8, turn 9, which is when it usually is available. Doesn't hit the skull in the end.
Another Silver Leaf sounds good to me.
Yeah. You can Brain Freeze the 1-3 and just ignore the Thalnos. Don't give please away to cycle.
Kind of like just saving the prep and going for Swindle here. Like, what are you going to spend your mana on?
Not much.
Sure.
I guess more poisons. That is a very fair thing. Like, immediate damage. Sign me up.
Oh yeah, the two things you spend your mana on, poisons or more poisons.
And Alutemu is just turboing through his deck. He has Secret Passage as well. Already Sinister Strike and Wicked Stab in hand. So we could see the Passage just pull him the second Sinister Strike. Any poison is really strong at this point as well. And GivePLZ currently looks like he might be forced on spending combo pieces to heal.
I think that's very possibly where he's at. Like, saving the double jump.
A lot.
Yeah, he can. The problem is, like, he doesn't really want to do it this turn because he wants to save up for a bigger heal swing turn, but he doesn't want to do it next turn because next turn he's likely to go double jump into hopefully Skull if he's going to have any chance of winning the game at all.
True. I think it's fair to say he still doesn't die this turn on average. That could very much not be the case though, because we're seeing Alutemu on 5. He has another 7 in hand. So if he hits, I guess not enough mana even with the passage, given that the minion got cleared. And GivePLZ is attacking with the Warblades. Okay. Oy oy oy. So this to me feels like the turn where you start looking for Cloak of Shadows just to be completely uninteractable. You can still do that with fitting in the Wand Maker, but to me that defeats the point of Cloak of Shadows, which is not giving any targets for, say, second Eldrazi Warblades to go into, or I-Beam in this case, of the Wand Maker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's still going to draw 2, so he wanted to see if he got a poison first, and then he could swing and still obviously hit the Cloak of Shadows as a follow-up.
If you passage now, 3 mana remaining, Poison's playable, Prize Plunder playable, and maybe not even Cloak of Shadows at this point. If you get Poisons, that just seems better.
Cutting Class is the one, that's what you're looking for. Again, we want Deadly Poison, we want Paralytic, anything that you can stick on the weapon here.
Oh, another Cutting Class. I'm not sure if he'll have the hand space with the original hand considered though. That's why Alutemu shakes his head.
Yeah, that's fine. You can hold back on that one, that's no worries.
Gets so much draw from his weapon to begin with and finds the Wicked Stab to close out the mana perfectly.
I just never get over how insane the draw engine is in Rogue right now. Like, he's doing so much stuff besides spending mana on card draw, and he has 7 cards left in his deck.
True. GivePLZ can heal a lot this turn.
Can he kill Alutemu?
No.
Not quite.
Not enough mana. So the question is, how much can he heal while still potentially killing Alutemu next turn? And it's really not that much.
It's not enough.
Talented with the Spell Scream here? Oh, Spell Scream gives up the win condition. I'm trying to see if he can get away with just I-Beam here. But
yeah, Fell Scream just multiplies so much better than I-Beam does.
yeah. So you can't have the best of both worlds here. The only way to stay safe enough is to go for more healing. I'll GivePLZ deciding to go for maximum as well, except for the I-Beam. He commits all of the kind of minion combo pieces that aren't Il'gynoth, and he is hoping to probably just hit the skull off the top and find the second Moarg.
It's definitely getting a little scary for Alutemu because he's only got one paralytic, one deadly left in the deck in terms of the poisons. And so, like, if he doesn't hit it off this cutting class now, it might be a little tricky to find enough charges of the Swine Tusk to close out the game.
Fair.
Maybe. Just to give any chance to give, please.
He certainly wants to brain freeze the Moarg.
Yeah.
Because that could just mean Give Please still has the combo next turn.
True.
Just sticking the Moarg. And then if you're playing Swindle, you're just not playing the cutting class, I assume.
So if he goes cutting class and swing, he's actually taking fatigue already at that point.
Yeah.
But he really wants these cards in his deck with Deadly and Paralytic still in there. Like, he's missed so much damage by not having played them earlier.
Mm-hmm. He still has that one charge though, so the Deadly will replenish the durability. Alutemu clearly not happy with the way things played out, but the way his draw worked, I don't think he could have gotten much better done.
I'm like, after being so firmly in the belief that Alutemu was going to win, like, I think GivePLZ might just like fatigue him now. He's got like I-Beam, he's got a bunch of healing. Alutemu draws 2 cards every turn, whether he likes it or not from here on in.
I think you're right. The last 2 cards are Sinister Strike and Paralytic Poison. The Deadly brings him up to 7 damage. That's 14 over 2 turns. Then he has Wicked Stab plus Sinister Strike for another 7. That's still not lethal.
Like, in this position, he could stop swinging for a turn, right? So that he stops drawing, like, as long as he gets all the charges through, but getting through all the charges is going to draw him 6 cards. He's just dead by then. Does he switch over to a new weapon?
So many options.
These are tough questions.
Really tough.
I think he's just overwriting the 5 on this. Oh, man, it takes a lot of conviction to go for this line, but on average, he does actually get more damage out of the Deadly Poison if you switch over. And you also don't fatigue immediately.
Like, he could draw now so that he can play the Paralytic Poison, because now that he's only drawing 1 extra card a turn, he really wants that 1 extra damage on each of the swings just to be able to close out the game. Oh.
It's pretty crazy. And GivePLZ, even though we talked about just him fatiguing, it's not impossible for him to just kill Alutemu as well. Double I-Beams and Il'gynoth are in the hand. Didn't hit the Moarg though, so these philosophies are just completely dead. GivePLZ, head and hands. Not sure about how to play the macro. We're not sure either.
We're in uncharted territory now. Open waters. Like, he still has another Moarg, right? He has another Fell Scream Blast. He has the Fell Screamer to make it cheaper. Like, he has the combo. He doesn't need to heal necessarily. He knows exactly how much damage he's going to be tanking next turn.
It's true. But the thing is, he doesn't have card draw. And if he doesn't hit the combo in the next 2 turns, Alutemu could still be just racing him. So...
yeah, I think he knows that it's exactly 14 he tanks next turn if he's been keeping track, which I'm sure he has. So he knows I-Beam does not have to come down here.
yeah, 14 is the maximum. Oh, sorry, the Wicked Stab is not even at full rank yet.
Oh, it's only turn 9. I just kind of assumed, having drawn his entire deck, that he might be up to turn 10. But yeah, it's only 12.
Thought so too. Alutemu deliberately didn't play Prize Splendor last turn, I have to imagine, to give GivePLZ the dilemma of having to use I-Beam on his own minion if he wanted to heal, but now it's not negotiable. I think Alutemu on Fatigue cannot leave spell damage in play. Il'gynoth is just too scary. Eldrazi Chaos Strike? That's a lot of heal. That's another draw as well, and Can I beam?
I'm fine with the I-beam here. Unless you think you have to save it for your combo, which I don't think you do.
Yeah. The 3 mana I beam, right? And then you just hero power.
Sure, yeah.
And so he heals for... Oh, GivePLZ is just completely stressed out. Can't blame him. He can go up to 18 this turn. And again, if he's keeping track, he knows there's just the one Wicked Stab for 6 more damage from Alutemu. The weapon has 2 more charges, though.
Maybe he has to save the I-beam to go with the Moarg from his deck. Again, he doesn't have to do the combo anymore. He just has to outlast this damage.
Yeah. I mean, if you have the other I-beam, it's fine. I think GivePLZ knows he doesn't have to go both heal for maximum and have the OTK at the end of this, because all he has to do is survive the weapons from Alutemu.
Exactly.
It's 6 over 12, and then the Wicked Stab. So it's actually not lethal for Alutemu next turn either.
Doesn't get there next turn, and even with just an I-beam, I think he's going to die too quickly before the Shanks can get there.
Yeah. As long as GivePLZ doesn't play Skull here, he should win.
Yep.
Because he will fatigue if he plays Skull.
Oh my god, that was so close. You have to start questioning things here. As much as I hate to say it, for Alutemu as well. Like, it's so difficult to predict. I fully appreciate that. This is not this is not a deck that people have done a million reps on.
Wait. Okay, so if you do play the Skull, you can still just heal with the Moarg and I-beam. That also gets there.
Okay. As long as he heals.
Yeah. He will. Yep, mana's there.
Yeah.
He'll do it. He sees it. It's fine.
Okay. But yeah, as I was saying, for Alutemu, like, drawing that many cards in the mid-game instead of saving them for... to go on the self-sharpening sword or building up the swine tusk shank even more. It's a heartbreaking way for him to go out, but for GivePLZ, what a relief. 2-0 up, things all start to crumble. You go down to 2 games apiece all the way to game 5, and he clutches it right at the end. Like, I liked the way that he approached that at the end, going for just the right amount of healing, knowing the breakpoints that Rogue can deliver. For Alutemu, though, he's definitely going to be looking back at that one and trying to find ways he could have changed that around.
Absolutely. I just never thought that Weapon Rogue could be so complicated. There were so many decisions at the end, and they were long-term game plan decisions where Alutemu had to figure out how much card draw he would be doing in the middle. There was just so much he got off of the double Silverleaf poisons that he was burning cards, and his secret passages actually didn't develop for him very much. There was just no choice, though, because if he drew more off the secret passage, he would burn even more. I don't know how you're supposed to optimize that, especially when the Demon Hunter could go for either the OTK and race you game plan or just out heal you game plan.
Well, there it is. In the end, Alutemu, we are not going to see the back-to-back champion, at least not in APAC. I believe that Tice and No Hands Gamer are still both in the runnings for going through to tomorrow in Europe and Americas, respectively, as both of their Week 1 champions. So make sure that you are tuning in to Europe and Americas after this. But for here in APAC, it is once again going to be GivePLZ going through to the semi-finals here. Very nice start to GM for him overall. I've been, for the most part, pretty impressed with what I've seen from him. Like you said, he's been playing these Masters Tours for a long while now, having very consistent results as well. And so far, it seems to be translating to a league format.
Very true. He just defeated the current winningest player in APAC. And given that last week he also 3-0'd Surrender